hosting. With just 114 days to elections in 2023, how can INEC train the new recs, 14 of them, to master the techniques of election processes in Nigeria, especially with new technologies? How are Nigerians reacting to the 4 recs with allegations despite being cleared by the Senate? Ndi Kato, I know you're just looking at Mr. Pele now. He was part of those that raised the concerns. But looking at the election, because what Nigerians want now, they don't even want anything that will make them start thinking that elections will be compromised. And you still have these people as managers of elections from states. Elections are conducted in states, not in the federal. Because the voting takes place in states. Calculation of results in states. And it is the final result that gets to Abuja, and the INEC chairman will then do the announcement. That's all the INEC chairman does. So if they are going to rake the election, it has to be in states. So do you trust, that's not that the Senate says we have collected these people, do you have trust in what the outcome will be that these people will preside over?
No, not at all. When you have people, number one, that have questionable character, that's a problem. When you have people who are openly partisan, I mean, one of them ran for office for Sokoto, APC, 2015. That is the ruling party right now. People have concerns that the ruling party may not want to do a free and fair election and may want to use the power of incumbency, right, to rig. So those concerns are there by the general public. And then you have a person who has been openly APC. You have someone whose brother is the Deputy National Chairman, Southeast Region. I mean, these are not things that we can overlook. And then we also have people who have corruption cases or who have had questionable cases against them. And these things are still against these people right now as we speak. And I don't think that we should downplay these things. These are not things that we can just hope that character changes. You know, they were not caught stealing bicycle. They were already in office, and they were corrupt in office, and it's very hard to change that kind of thing. I for one, would want to use this opportunity to actually talk about the fact that, look, we need to take appointment of INEC recs, appointment of INEC chairman away from politicians. We need to set up an independent body that takes care of these appointments so that we don't have these kinds of situations. And I'm also quite disappointed in the opposition in the National Assembly, in the Senate, for not doing such a thorough job in ensuring that this does not go through, because civil society have done their own, and every time civil society comes out to fight these kinds of battles, sometimes civil society find themselves in big trouble. You put your lives on the line. You're coming to say, look, this should not be, and the powers that be are saying this should be. But we also expect that within that politicians should stop looking at, oh, just self-interest. If you as you're there as an opposition senator, couldn't you do something? I saw in one of the news items that Senator Philip Aduda actually wanted to say something, but that Senator Kalu told him that you were part of the committee that you're part of the committee that sat on this, and you didn't raise it then, and you could have raised it now. Senate should not be a business as usual. Lawmaking should not be business as usual. Now, when you see things that affect the people, number one, National Assembly, or number 2, National Assembly does not have such a high return rate. So you are there for a short period of time, and you're supposed to prioritize the people, not prioritize the political career. And we see time and again politicians prioritizing their political career against what should benefit the people, and I do not think that is right. So I'm calling out, number one, the opposition, that they could have done a better, thorough job at this. And then number 2, the Senate led by Senator Ahmed Lawan, again, we're seeing the Senate still failing the people and being proudly rubber stamp, and that should not be so.
But Ndi Kato, now that they are, just like what Jackie Pele says, they are already resident electoral commissioners, and there's nothing anyone can do except somebody goes to court to say there's a breach to the Nigerian Constitution, which we mentioned earlier. They said, yes, this is what the Nigerian Constitution says. Let's go test this in court. So it is the court that will determine whether these 4 recs will remain as recs before the 2023 election. That's if there's anybody that wants to go to court. But let's look at taking these judgments to the court of public opinion. Nigerians already know that there's an allegation on these people. The Senate says the allegations cannot be substantiated, and they're not strong enough to say no. And because you don't have real proof to say this person is partisan, you can't just say the person is partisan. Now let's look at what will happen on election day. He said, touch light will be on them. Give them the steps. as we speak now, Nigerians will go and look for the states that these 4 recs will become resident electoral commissioners. So it's going to be a very tough one, especially now that you have political parties that are going into the election, serious-minded political parties, not what it used to be. So what do you think we should expect?
Thank you, IJ, for saying serious-minded political parties, because, I mean, with respect to people being the opposition, Labour Party people, obedience have been so big on this. You know, if we had more in the National Assembly, we have seen a bigger change. But in the court of public opinion, we're seeing a lot of young people in the obedience camp pushing for these things. And eternal vigilance, I'll say, eternal vigilance is the price we pay for freedom, and that is what's happening, especially on social media. People are calling this out, you know. But what concerns me is the post-truth Nigeria we live in. We live in a post-truth society that you can call things out and you can say this is wrong, and then the system is looking at you like you have said this is wrong, you have called it out, and then so what? So now we're calling on INEC, like, INEC, you need to do the right thing. We need a stronger institution. We are going to speak and speak and keep on speaking. People are going to protest. People are going to use every medium that they have. That's been very sure, because this election, young people have decided that they are not taking this election for granted. We have a candidate in this election that has made this election about the issues on ground, and these issues are going to be debated. So if we're going forward, it is clear, look, we can't remove these people. They have already been sworn in. We hoped that the people who were elected in to ensure that this kind of thing does not happen would not fail us, but unfortunately they failed, and they failed woefully, and we have 4 people of concern in here. Now, with that said, people are still going to keep on being vigilant. We're still going to keep on calling INEC. We're going to stay on INEC's neck 24/7. This is not going to be a walk in the park for INEC. So for the chairman, I really like your speech. Your speech called these people to action, but we should go beyond words. This institution needs to be strengthened. This institution needs to be freed from the arms of politicians, and we also need to see consequences, that if on election day any of these people step in the way of free and fair elections, that please, nobody should stand between them and the law. What we are hoping now is that justice takes its course at this point, IAJ, because what should have prevented has not prevented. So what should we are not proactive again. Now we are waiting for reaction in case of any misbehavior happening.
Okay.
IJ,
yes.
You see, my sister is well spoken, but I also put a bit of the blame on the political class,
okay,
the political parties, because when this thing started, we called on political parties to add their voice. I don't know what your party said concerning this. If the political party have taken a stand with the civil society, we probably may not have seen what we are seeing today. You know, the political party failed us. They did not add their voice to this, and of course, the ruling party said, okay, well, there were times that the political other opposition had their rec in the same shoes that we're fighting. You know, I wish political parties had added their voice and taken a stand. We probably wouldn't be where we are today. I can tell you a lot about INEC. INEC is properly structured. Sometimes I blame INEC for even being under-regulated. They have so much power that they are not using, you know. So there's no blame here. You can't blame INEC. To be honest, I don't speak for them. I don't work there. I have no business working there, you know. But they have no blame on this. The blame is on us as society that watch this evil pass before our very eyes. The blame is also on the political parties, because we expected them to come out and lend their voice to this campaign, and today it has failed. So we have to live with it, manage it, make sure that they don't do what we pointed out.
Mr. Pele, nobody is blaming INEC here.
Nobody is blaming INEC.
But if you take a look at what has happened today, these persons are already recs. They represent INEC, and if anything goes wrong, it is INEC. I'm sure you know that.
I agree.
INEC chairman is not a spirit that to be ever.
No. What I'm saying is, before this appointment,
yes,
INEC had no hand in it. They can't.
We understand that INEC cannot have hand in it.
So they couldn't stop the process. There's no way. They could not stop the process. They can't stop the process. That's the only thing that can happen now is if they do anything as INEC staff. I don't even know if the chairman has all the constitutional right to fire them. You understand? So that's it. So we are now crying over spilled milk.
Yeah.
I think, like you rightly said, we should be proactive and not reactive. And the proactive measure is to put an eagle eyes on these people so that they don't do what they want to do.
So that means they have to track them.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Many of us will.
Yes.
Because we, thank God, we have a bit of a capacity and we're deploying the right people with technology. We're investing a lot in technology to monitor this election. I can tell you, IJ, truly and really, nobody will rig this election. The only thing we are concerned about is vote buying. And we're also trying to do something to bring it to the barest minimum.
But when you say nobody will rig the election, if
they will not be able to.
That's indirectly rigging the election.
No. What I'm saying is
you change the mindset of people. It's written in the law.
No. You know why? There are technology that will guide the process. There are structures that will guide the process. There are systems that will guide the process.
So which system is put in place to checkmate vote buying in our society today? Because when you speak with INEC, they will tell you we do not have the capacity to
that's actually not their job.
Exactly.
The job is, the onus is on civil society.
Okay.
On the citizenry, to educate their constituency. Now listen, why would you want to sell your destiny for paltry sum of 500 naira, 5,000 naira? It's not what you're, and then you turn around and you complain.
Mr. Kato, that 500 naira, 1,000 and 5,000 naira you're talking about is at the polling unit level. There are stages of vote buying. Vote buying is taking place now as I'm talking to you.
I know.
So it is. Ndi Kato, I'm sure you will want to talk on that, because if you see what is going on now, you may not see it. It is the more you look, the less you see. There's so much poverty, and poverty has been weaponized. Yes, it has been weaponized. And people go down, throw away their integrity for money. This time around, no 5,000 now. Money in millions.
Yeah.
So what do we do about that? Because they will tell you, do you have proof?
So I think that is where the conversation comes in, where it's like we're fighting this and like, do you have proof? Did you see them? But I think also that one has actually a huge cash for CACHE for communication, for sensitization, and I think that they need to use more of that. They're doing such a wonderful job, but more needs to be done. It's not just, don't sell your votes, but letting people know the implications of selling their votes and the ripple effects of selling their votes. So INEC needs to do a lot more than that, more with that. INEC needs to do a lot more with civil society. INEC needs to do a lot more collaborations with the media and the people at large. So we need to have more of those, a lot more of those conversations with INEC about vote buying. I disagree. I do think that people will still attempt to rig this election. I mean, it is what it is. Vote buying is one of the major ways in which they would attempt to. We have forgotten electoral violence. INEC is is getting stronger by the day. We hope that this institution gets strengthened, to the max before the election. But when you now introduce that element of violence on that day, and politicians tend to do that, then you can read. There's so many things that the machine cannot solve, and we need to have conversations around that. We need to have conversations around consequences for things like that. So again, please, just to mention, we're not blaming INEC, and with this election, civil society should also recognize this. There's a whole army of young people. I mean, I speak for Labour Party, and I'll say there's a whole army of young people that are eager and are speaking about these issues. But I think that when we're referring to them, we don't consider that these people are also, in politics, are also very active in this election season. All we are looking for is the traditional politicians. That if one old man that has not been senator, this, big that, does not say something, we don't consider that something has been said on this issue. Because with respect to this issue of INEC, young people in the political space have spoken over and over and over again, and they have not allowed this conversation to die down. Right now, the issue with invalid voters, the disenfranchised voters, young people are speaking so loud on social media. People have gone to create their own data, create graphics around the data, that INEC has produced, and are blasting these things everywhere. But as usual, we look at it and say it's social media, but so much is happening in this space, and young people are speaking, and I think that we need to take advantage of this if we want a better election.
All right, you can be part of this conversation. All you need to do is just put a call through to telephone 0805 378-9021 is the number to call. 0805-378-9021. You can contribute via telephone and via Twitter handle. You can follow me on my handle at EG or Sabo. And you drop your messages there, or drop your comments or question that you have for the lady or gentleman in the studio. And our official handle is at Democracy #2 Day with a double Y. So you just drop it. We'll be going through our social media at this moment to check one or two messages that we are seeing a lot. We have so much messages to take. So let's begin first of all with Modesha is tweeting. Modesha Ibrahim tweeted about 17 minutes ago. He said, please note that official letter dispatched to government organizations do not need to be stamped. Thank you for that. But letters received by government organizations carry receipt stamp of the receiving government organization should show the data it was received. So there's no stamp on the name to say yes, this letter. Okay, we have said it. Thank you so much. Then Chris Oluwa says, Chris Oluwa from Umuahia, IJ, Nigerians were proud of INEC chairman after the conduct of governorship election in Anambra State. We are also believing that his promises of conducting credible elections in 2023 will remain is bond. Thank you. And Dr. Uma Olebara is saying, clearing these nominees who are alleged to be partisans shakes the confidence of the electorate. That's what she's saying there. He said it shakes the confidence of the electorate if you clear them more, and makes it more worrisome. Is the Senate partisanship in clearing them? Now that they are sworn in, it's our duty to monitor them 24/7. No more business as usual. We must get it right. Yes, we have a caller. We quickly have a caller. Okay, John from Abuja is calling. Let's quickly listen to John. John, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm calling because of this vote buying of something. If only INEC can make it this way. If I'm going to vote at that polling vote,
I think the people in the studio will need to listen to this.
INEC will place identity to stay and collect that my phone after voting. So that when I come out today, I'll collect my phone and go. So that let you know after voting, when I complete, I was happy to go and show some people outside that I have voted for their party. So let INEC other fight for animal workers, 5 or 6. So you collect the phone. Because you go and vote, you come out to carry your phone and go. I think that will go a long way also to fight that against vote buying. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You see, the INEC chairman said initially that there will be, in fact, not only in this season, even in other elections, they ban telephones close to the voting cubicle so that you don't get to snap and then send it away. They ban telephones close to the voting cubicle. If you're going in there to vote, you keep your telephones so you don't have to snap, and then you encourage vote buying. So as it is now, we will still be taking more messages, but let's look at the studio. We'll still go to our Twitter handle. Yes, Mr. Pele, you see, people are already concerned. I have a lot of calls and a lot of messages here. The concern is these people will be monitored 247. We still have another caller from Abuja. Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Please, can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
I feel
your name and where you're calling from.
it's Gabriel. I'm calling from Aruba.
Gabriel. Okay, Gabriel, go ahead.
I want to agree with the case. There's nothing we can do about the President Electoral Commission. And I've been already screened by our so-called politicians called senators. I want to comment on the issue of EBC collection. We go back to my state to the situation to go and do the situation. And I'm going to announce that the issue is now. So now call and discover that in my own place, most people the polling unit in the local government headquarters. That is the benefit. So how come you as the villagers who might the come and collect their TV? You know, some cannot even afford the transport to go to the local government headquarters. So I find it difficult. I live here. I was planning to travel down to the state, but how can I get to the local government? Maybe I will take up to more than 2 weeks. And at the end of the day, you not many people from voting. So I think I don't know what I meant.
Thanks so much, Gabriel. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Gabriel, for that observation. Gabriel is saying that they have said they should go to local government headquarters to collect their PVCs. And if you live in a village, and you know some local government headquarters are like 3-4 hours away from villages in that local government. There are states that when you go to them, their local government is quite far from the villages. If you're in a village and you start looking for how to get your permanent voter cards, that's a challenge. Well, I hope that INEC is listening, and probably they will try and do something about it. INEC chairman talked about decentralization of collection of voter PVCs. Probably they will take it closer towards where you can go there and pick your PVCs. They're trying to make sure and ensure that Nigerians get their PVCs. And in the last meeting, with INEC chairman talked about November. Towards the end of November, they will start distribution of PVCs. So people who have not gotten their PVCs will definitely get their PVCs. So let's come to the studio. You see, people are really worried. The back issue, 4 of them, is still in the minds of Nigerians. The issue of permanent voters card collection is still a challenge. And the issue of vote buying is still there. So that means Nigerians are very, very enlightened now, and they want to be part of this election. So what would you advise INEC to do?
Well, do the right thing. I have had several interactions with Professor Mahmoud. He has a listening ears. And the thing about INEC, at least the people that I work with, we support INEC, is the fact that they are proactive and they are willing and flexible, to be honest with you, So I am sure they will listen to some of these yearnings and aspirations of citizenry and do the right thing. And where we, the civil society, can come in and support them, we will support them. I mean, my organization, we're focusing on reducing voter apathy amongst persons with disability across the country, and we're on a national campaign. We've done Abuja, we've gone to Kaduna, we've gone to Gombe, and we are heading to Port Harcourt this the beginning of the week. Okay. And then of course Enugu and Lagos. And then the important thing and the impactful thing is that states are buying into the campaign and asking us to bring the same campaign so that they can step it down and cascade it down to even local government. So we're very proactive and we're supportive of INEC processes, and those processes are robust. Those processes can be trusted. Let's give them a chance. And where they are wrong, I, for one, will be the first to speak out.
Ndi Kato, yes, the issue of you just spoke that they are trying to do their best to ensure that people get their permanent voter card. But we still need to be concerned about the process that will lead to the election. We're talking about the RECs, and some of the 14 of them are new. Thank God you are ICT savvy. You understand what it is. Not everybody can operate ICT system. They don't need to operate, but they need to know the processes. But what we have now is not fully electronics, but the other part that is not electronics is the thumbprint and the voting process. Collection of results, they sent to the online using both manual and electronics. Don't you think that we would have had a better, smooth process with old recs, but now that we have new recs, 14 of them, they are huge. I think INEC can quickly educate, train them.
Well, one can really hope so. That's number one. And the other part is some of them are, a good number of them are academics, and we're hoping that, the same way they used to teach people, they can use it to ingest information as fast as possible. But I'm also seeing INEC improving in its processes. So I honestly think that they will go through with this and they'll be able to train the recs. I don't think it's good for us to keep repeating these recs over and over again. You get used to the system, there's no longer accountability, it just becomes just another day for you. So a new challenge for a new group of people, but it could have been done faster. It could have been done faster. The delay is what, that delay is almost unforgivable. However, they're already here and there's nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do now is to jack INEC's shirts. INEC, you have to do the trainings as fast as possible, and you also have to show us, the people, that these people, I think we need some level of accountability with INEC, that INEC needs to show us that these people understand this job they are doing and are going to be able to deliver on the elections. I also hope that the moral part of it, that is mostly understood, that when they got this job, they did not think, in the same I don't blow, it has happened for me, that they understand that this is a call to duty, a call to service, and the service is to the Nigerian people.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Ndi Kato is the founder of Adulo Foundation. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Ndi Kato, a spokesperson, one of the spokespersons for the OB.T campaign organization.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. Let's just take one or two before we go. Emperor says, good evening, IG. We're praying for a better Nigeria in 2023. Nigeria has good people, but once they are involved in politics, they become bad people. It will take the grace of God for we to get it right. The hardship is encouraging vote buying. And finally, let me take this coming from Charles Oji. Good evening, IG. I believe that the media should query why there are more percentage of invalid registration from the southern part of the country than have been more